Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Johnny TCG video. I'm Johnny TCG. I'm excited to see you here today, and today I'm going to be talking about a leader from OP08, Green Carrot. She got some new support in EB02 that is really strong, and I feel like no one's talking about this leader. Okay, a couple people are talking about this leader, but I think she's a great sleeper choice. I'm not saying she's going to define the meta or anything, but I've been having a lot of fun with her. I think you might enjoy this deck too, and so I wanted to talk about it with y'all. The first thing on the schedule today is doing a deck profile, taking a look at all the cards in the deck, going over them one by one, and seeing how they fit together. Then, of course, we've got a giveaway. If you're new to the channel, we do a giveaway in just about every single video. You're going to want to stick around for that. And then we're going to take this deck to the sim, see how it does, go over some games, and talk about it afterwards. With that, let's get into the deck list. Starting off with Carrot, she's a 5 life, 5000 power green leader, Minx typing, and then she's got the ability of activate main once per turn. If you have a Minx character on the field, you may rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Simple as that, just activate main, rest one of your opponent's cost 5 or less characters. It's a great time, it's a simple ability. If you enjoy a control-y, lockdown board kind of gameplay, then you will probably really like this leader. I know I sure have. The biggest thing holding her back is probably the lack of top end when it comes to Minx specific characters. We're relying on cards from other archetypes, which is fine, but they're not searchable, which is a bummer. Starting off strong with new EB02 support, we have Carrot, the 1 cost 0 power with 2k counter. This card is so strong in this deck, folks. I can't believe more people aren't talking about it. On play, if you have 3 or more down cards on your field, so you can't play this on your first turn, you look at the top 7 cards of your deck for a Zoe stage. If you find one, you add it to your hand, and then you can play one from your hand onto the field. That's insane. On 3 Don, my favorite combo, I don't want to get ahead of myself, is playing down this Carrot, finding the Zoe, or maybe I even have one already in my hand and I can just play out that one. Then you play out Zoe, rest it to restand a Don as active, and then you're playing out a Conslot, 3 cost 4000 power body. That's absolutely crazy, folks. I haven't seen a ton of other Carrot lists in EB02, but I imagine everyone's going to be running this as a 4 of. I certainly am. We're running 3 of the 5 cost 5000 power Carrots from OP02, a 2k counter for the most part. You can play her out on your 5 Dom play if you don't have anything else, but I think for the most part, this probably isn't your ideal 5 Dom play. I don't have a lot to say about her, just a kind of underwhelming ability that at the end of your turn, you get to set one of your Don as active. That's not really super important for us though, in this deck list at least. Next, we're running 2 Doflamingos, the 10 cost 10,000 power Beast from OP04. Now, this is a card I really enjoyed in this deck and should probably bump him up to 3 just because he is so strong and so annoying to chain back to back to back. Again, this isn't a list where you can really search for him, so it is kind of just luck of the draw if you're going to be able to chain them together. But in those cases, it's just such a strong card. For those that don't know, his on play is that you get to prevent 3 of your opponent's characters or one of their leaders from restanding during the next refresh phase. That is absolutely brutal. In certain situations where you're just locking down your opponent's board, they really can't do a lot, and if you can chain 1 or 2 back together, you're going to steal all the momentum. Next, we have the 7 cost 8000 power Hody Jones, the menace of the green color in this game. He's got Rush, of course, and then the on play of resting up to 2 of either your opponent's Don or character cards. Him at 3 or 4 could honestly be the move, but I don't think you can go wrong. As long as you got a couple copies in your deck, I think you're going to be really good. Next, we've got 2 copies of 5 cost 6000 power 1k counter Jewelry Bonnie from OP07. Her ability is on play, you may freeze either one of your opponent's characters or one of their rested Don. Now, I don't love this card in this deck, not because I think it's a bad card, but there's just a lot of other cards that do what she does. For example, Inuarashi freezes characters, Carrot freezes characters, Electrical Luna, of course. Now, she also has the ability of freezing Don, which depending on the matchup, freezing a Don card in certain situations can just ruin the game for your opponent basically. But for the most part, I don't find myself using her a ton. Just running her at a 2 of isn't really a big deal. Maybe this is a card I consider cutting and boosting up other cards. Next, we've got 4 5 cost 6000 power Inuarashis from OP08. 1k of counter is very nice. He has the ability of on play. If your leader has the Minx type, which of course we do, you get to freeze 2 of your opponent's rested cost 5 or less characters, which is absolutely perfect. If you like control-y decks, board lockdown decks, you're gonna love this deck. I am absolutely telling you. This is an easy 4 of in my opinion. Same situation with this 5 cost 6,000 power carrot from OP08 as well. This one is a super rare. She has the on play and when attacking ability to freeze one of your opponent's rested 7 cost or less characters. This is just like Arashi and Jewelry Bonnie, but you can use it every single turn because it's also a when attacking. This is one of the best green cards in the game really, and absolutely amazing in this deck, one of the MVPs if I say so myself. Next up we have Conslot, an OP08 card and one of the most unsung heroes of this deck. 3 cost 4,000 power and 1k counter do not sound intimidating, but his ability is really strong, especially early game. His ability is when attacking, freeze up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or less rested characters. This is absolutely amazing to combine with your leader ability because you're just doing it basically every single turn. If you have the stage on the field too, you can restand him, so early game he's going to be annoying and your opponent's going to have to use removal to deal with him. Not a lot to say, just that I love this card really. 4 Pedro from OP08, 4 cost 5,000 power, the man, the myth, the legend himself. He's a blocker, of course, and then he has the on KO ability, which is really annoying for your opponent to deal with. You get to choose one of the 2 abilities. It's either you rest one of your opponent's Don cards, which makes the ordering of certain things really annoying for them to deal with, or you get to KO one of their rested cost 6 or less characters. In most matchups, you'll probably be able to find a way to get pretty good value off one of these abilities. Next, we're running 4 of the OP08 Milky, 2 cost, 0 power, mostly used as a 2k counter. She does also have the ability of Activate Main. You may rest this character. If your leader has the Minx type, set one of your Don as active. This could come in handy, but for the most part, I do use her as a 2k. Because your leader ability does require you to have a Minx character in play, this is also a reason why you might play her out. Other than that though, solid 2k, very situational ability that I don't love. Next, another Minx card, 1 cost 2,000 power Wanda from OP08, 1k of counter as well. This is your typical on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck searcher. We're looking for a Minx type besides Wanda, of course. Not a lot to say about this card, your best turn 1 play, and yeah, love to see it early game. I'm using 2 Smoker in this deck, the new OP10 Smoker, which is just so strong, 5 cost, 7,000 power. He's got Banish, and then he also has the ability to activate main. You may restand one of your rested Don as active, then you can't restand any Don with any other character's effects for the rest of the turn. This is just a really strong card to play on curve, generically good, no like circumstantial stuff. It's just this card is a beast to play down early in the game. I like it at 2, you could even bump it up more. We have a lot of strong 5 drops in this deck, so that's why maybe I'm only running him at 2, but I think you can really go wild with this card. I like him as a little bit of a tech choice in this deck. Our last character card in the deck is the 9 cost 11,000 power Shanks from the Bonnie starter deck. He's got the on play ability to KO one of your opponent's rested characters. This is a card I've been a little bit torn on. Of course, he's an amazing card, especially in certain circumstances when you have a good target to hit, but I found myself kind of preferring the 10 cost Dofi in a couple of situations where I really just wish the 9 cost Shanks in my hand was a Dofi, and hypothetically we could do that if we just cut out the Shanks and bump up Dofi. But right now I am enjoying him. You can maybe even consider the 9 cost Zoro for other top end. The 9 cost Zoro, of course, an absolute beast of the card, but I don't know, does amazing in this current meta. Let me know what you think about the top end in this deck down below in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts and what you're running if you're running something different. 2 0 cost 3,000 power counter events. It also has the trigger where you get to rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. If they don't sequence their attacks properly, this could maybe win you a game to get off the trigger, but for the most part, this is just a good way to turn a brick into 3,000 counter when you're on defense. I'm running 3 Electrical Luna, the OP08 event card that is so good in this deck, so good in the current meta, especially with green-purple Luffy running rampant. 3 cost activate main. All of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less do not become active during the next refresh phase. This is a great way to stun their board. Now, it is such a good card. I was running it at 4, but I really found like I could bump it down to 3 just because we have a lot of other cards that do things similarly. The Carrot, the Inuarashi, the Jewelry Bonnie. I just felt like 4 was a lot and I could probably get away with running 3, and so far so good. I'm okay with it at 3. Next up, we're running 4 of the 3 cost Stage Zoe. The stage is 3 cost, which is expensive, but I think it's worth the high price tag. It has 2 abilities. The first is activate main. You may rest the stage, then restand a Don as active, giving you more Don to work with every single turn. Who doesn't love that? And then he also has the ability of end of your turn, you may set one of your Minx type characters as active. This is amazing to keep some of your characters on the board so that you can continuously use your leader ability, especially Conslot early on in the game. You're going to want to swing with him, putting pressure on your opponent's leader, or even if you're not putting pressure on your opponent's leader with him, you're freezing one of their characters ideally. Then with stage, you set him back up as active, and he's going to be annoying for your opponent to try to deal with that way. Let me know what you think about this deck list down in the comments below. I'm having a ton of fun with it. If you give it a shot, I definitely want to hear how you like it as well. Before we get into the games, of course, we've got a giveaway for you today. We do a giveaway in just about every single video. Today, we're going to be giving away a drum roll, please. Today we're giving away a Johnny TCG Classic Money Sonic Don. I am the artist. I'm just giving this away. It's a fun personal fan project of mine. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is 1, leave a like, and 2, leave a comment. It's as simple as that. And if this video gets 30 likes in the first 24 hours, I'll choose a random US-based commenter, send it to you completely free. Simple as that, folks. Hit the like button, leave a comment if you want to win it, and yeah, that's all you got to do. If you like the channel, if you want to support the channel, help us keep growing, consider hitting that subscribe button down below as well. It means the world to me. I appreciate it, and let's get into the gameplay. Our first game of the day is going to be against Green Purple Luffy. This deck is everywhere on the sim. We are going to choose to go first. I think that's what we like just in general because we do have a lot of 1-drop plays, and then on that 3-Don turn, I really like either this Carrot into Zoe or the 3-cost Consulate and then freeze their Zorojoros if they try to play a Zorojoro. We are going to start with the 5,000 power swing with our leader. They happily take that. I'm excited about that. Then we can pull off this crazy combo. For 3-Don, we're actually going to be able to get 7-Don worth of value. We're going to start with the Carrot. We search up the Zoe. We already had one in our hand, which was good news. Then we play out the Zoe off Carrot's ability, rest the Zoe to restand a Don, play out the Consulate for 3-Don, and wow, what a combination. 4-Don for them to work with. We could see the Zorojoro here. They won't have it though. They're going to play down the Nami Searcher from EB01. They'll be able to find Sanji from OP07. That's the 6-cost blocker that is also a 2k counter. Nothing too crazy off that search. Then they're just going to swing big into our leader. We will happily take that. We get the Carrot 1-cost 2k counter, which we probably won't play out, but it is good to have another 2k counter in hand. Using our leader ability, we're going to rest this Nami. Even though it's not much of a threat, I am going to use Consulate's ability to swing into leader and then prevent the Nami from restanding next turn. 5,000 into their leader, forcing them to give me a card. I could have played Carrot down this turn, but alas, I thought it's better to play Pedro and just save the Carrot for next turn. Well, maybe we'll be able to get more value from it. They take that 5,000 power swing, which really surprises me. They are taking a lot of early swings. I wonder if they don't have a lot of counter. Now a 6,000 power swing from our leader, they will 2k counter with that assumably Sanji that they did search for. I really do wonder if they just don't have a lot of counter in hand. That we are going to be able to restand the Consulate using the Zoe ability, which is awesome. Passing it back to them, 6-Don for them to work with. We could see a Sanji and Pudding here. We could see a couple different cards. They will have the Sanji and Pudding from EB02 though. At this point, we all know, we all love this card. Or if you're not a Green Purple Luffy player, you absolutely hate this card. They're going to swing 7,000 into us, and we will take that as well. This is going to be awesome. Our upcoming turn, we'll be able to rest the Sanji and Pudding and then use Carrot to freeze it, preventing them from swinging with it. At least they'll still be able to get some value from it, but yeah, I'm happy just to be able to freeze it and prevent it from attacking us. 7-Don for us to work with. With Zoe, it's actually kind of 8-Don. Then of course we could play the Smoker as well, and Smoker would allow us to use even more Don. So I'm going to start out with a 6,000 power swing from Consulate into their leader, freezing that Nami again. Not that I'm really too afraid of the Nami, but you might as well, and also it prevents them from giving Don to Nami and making it a potential swing. They'll trigger the Gamma Knife, which does let them ramp a Don. Then we'll play down the Carrot, freeze the Sanji and Pudding. We're going to be able to give our leader 1 Don, swing 6,000 after we restood Don with Zoe. 6,000 into 6,000. If they take this, they've got to be bricked, but alas, they do not. They're going to counter 1k with a Tony Chopper blocker. We'll pass it back to them using Zoe, restanding Consulate, and I think we're in an amazing position. They do have a lot of Don to work with though, and that is good news for them, but at the same time, I feel like we're in a really good spot. We have Hody Jones as well in our hand, so when we're ready to go for a game, we can drop that and rest any blockers they play out or Don they leave up for Gum Gum Giant. They're going to have to be really careful about that. They're going to start their turn by using leader ability. go so quickly. I see some Don being minus, and I'm like, oh, I guess they just used their leader ability. They're going to tap 7 Don, play down the Luffy Taro. Along with the Luffy Taro, they will play out the Moment of Truth, Sanji and Pudding. While getting another Sanji and Pudding on the field is good for them, I still think we're in a really good spot. 6,000 at us now with their leader. I'm debating on whether or not to take this or maybe block with Pedro and popping their rested Sanji and Pudding, and then I can rest the other one next turn with my leader ability and freeze that with Carrot. I really like that idea. Shout out to me for making a good play for once. Next, they're going to swing with their Frankie. It's only a 4,000 power swing, so I don't even have to counter out of it. But the reason they did that is so that they could ramp it down as rested. Now, I am going to be able to freeze that Frankie using the Consulot's ability. I'm telling you, do not sleep on Consulot in this deck. He is so strong. We're going to use leader ability, rest that Sanji and Pudding, swing 6,000 into their leader, freeze the Sanji and Pudding. I really like where we're at right now. We do have a Hody Jones in hand, so we might be able to go for game here if we're feeling greedy. It's not even that dangerous because we do have 3 life cards left. Even if we play the Hody, we'll still have 2 and then plenty of cards in hand. I think I'm going to play it a little bit safer though. I'm going to play out the 5 cost Smoker that has Banish. That'll force my opponent to counter out of an attack next turn unless they take an attack this turn, which I don't think they're going to want to do. Now we're going to swing into the Nami with Consulot, freezing the Frankie. This is probably just being overly cautious, but I'm going to clear any potential swing and just really dominate the rest of the game. They just concede. Their hand was kind of bricked. I mean, they did have a Gum Gum Giant and a 2K, but with no secret rare Luffy's, with their entire board basically being locked down, there was no real way for them to come back. At least in my opinion, next turn I would have dropped a Hody Jones and just finished the job, really. On to the next one though, GG's. Now we've got a game against Enel. I'm not really sure how this matchup is going to go just because our best matchups I feel like are playing smaller decks that play a lot of low cost characters that we can use our leader ability with, that we can use Carrot with, Electrical Luna, Consulot, but with Enel mostly playing like 9, 8, 10 cost characters, I don't know if our abilities are really going to mean much. We whiff on the Carrot search, which is absolutely brutal. That's such a bummer. We would have then been able to play stage, then play the Consulot, which would have been decent, you know, not crazy good, but still decent. It feels so bad to miss out on that combo. We're going to swing 7,000 and they will take that. They've got the 4 cost Kuzan to bounce back the Carrot to my life and then make me trash a card from hand. No real card I really want to trash. I decided to go with the Hody Jones because I'm feeling like the Hody Jones is not super valuable at the exact moment. I'm going to swing 5,000 into their leader. I think I probably should have just swung into the Kuzan, but it doesn't really make much of a difference. I'm going to be able to freeze it with Carrot if I so please, or Jewelry Bonnie. I decide not to play either of those out though, which in hindsight, I'm not sure if it's a misplay or not. Just because I know they have that Egghead Nami that's going to be able to pop either one of them. Like, it's not even a suspicion. I just saw them draw it. So that's why I'm hesitant to play either the Carrot or the Jewelry Bonnie. In hindsight, I really think I should have just rested the Kuzan and swung into it. They're going to have another Kuzan, which is pretty crazy, adding the Consulot to my hand, then making me trash a card. I'll get rid of a Shanks, which I will come to regret. I think I probably should have kept the Shanks just because, of course, Enel will have plenty of targets for me to hit with that. We're going to take these 2 hits. We get 2 2K counters, which is nice, and then we do find the Doflamingo off the top deck. They will play a Shirahoshi out of their hand, which is not really that scary in this matchup because we can rest it using leader ability. I'm going to start with the 7,000 power swing into their leader, or no, not their leader, their Kuzan, which they do let go. I'll play Jewelry Bonnie to rest one of their Don and pass it back to them. 8 Don for them to work with, but they can't play a Katakuri now. They've got the Egghead Nami to pop the Jewelry Bonnie. I had to play a 5 cost eventually, folks, you know. It felt bad sacrificing it, but it is what it is. 7,000 now with Kuzan. We will take that and then pass it back to us. We're going to start with the Wanda search. We do find a Carrot or Milky, which we would just use the Milky as a 2K. I decided to take the Carrot, and now I'm just going to play out my Carrots, basically. I'll rest their Egghead Nami, and then I'll probably swing into either the Nami or the Kuzan, and then freeze the other with a Carrot. 8,000 now with our leader into the Egghead Nami. Going to get rid of that one. That one's a super rare, so we want to get those super rares off the board. I'm just being a little silly. That wasn't even funny at all. We'll play down the Carrot, freeze the Kuzan. I'm happy that they let the Nami go, passing it back to them. They've got 10 Don to work with, and they're in a pretty good spot if I say so myself. Plenty of cards in hand. I mean, Life is looking good at 2. At least if they play an ace, it won't have rush. They would be able to pop my carrot with a Yamato, which does feel pretty bad. We have 2 Doflamingos in our hand, though, and that could be really good in this matchup. It's looking like they don't have a 10 drop. They're going to swing 7,000 at us with their leader. We will take that. In hindsight, maybe I should have blocked that. Then they'll play down the 8 cost Useless Captain Kid. That is a nice tech in this deck. Being able to trash a card from our life puts us in a really bad spot because now we are at 1 life. Yeah, it's as simple as that, folks. Now, I'm thinking we go 10 cost Dofi here. I'll start with a carrot swing into their leader, I guess. Just putting pressure on their life a little bit. I have to eventually. 6,000 into 5,000. I'll freeze their Kuzan. They'll 2k counter out of that, which I'm happy about. Maybe they don't have a 10 cost ace in their hand, which is really good for us, or a 9 cost Yamato. I'll then play down the 10 cost Dofi. I won't swing with my leader, and then I'll pass it back to them. If they do have a rush card, they will be able to pressure that carrot, but I hope to keep it alive. We have another 10 cost Dofi to chain right now, which is always a great combo, basically. They will tap 8 for the 8 cost Katakuri and put the carrot at the bottom of my life. That makes a lot of sense from their perspective. 2 down, left up. They'll just pass it back to me. Nothing to play, I guess. I'm going to start by swinging 3,000 or 2,000 with Wanda into Shirahoshi. They let it go, of course. Then I'm just going to swing 5,000 into either Kuzan or life. I guess it makes more sense to swing into Kuzan just to try to get counter out of their hand. We do have the 10 cost Dofi that'll freeze it anyway, but I do think it does make sense to swing into the Kuzan just to try to get cards out of hand. Maybe I don't even play the 10 cost Dofi here. Maybe I go with the Carrot and Smoker, or Pedro and Smoker. We're going to swing now 10,000 into their Eustace Captain Kid, just trying to get it off the board or counter from their hand again. 5 cost Smoker does seem like a pretty good option here and would make going for game eventually really nice. Dofi, though, of course, would really help protect my life by preventing them from swinging 3 different times, and that's what I'll do. I'll play down the 10 cost Dofi, freeze their leader, use this Captain Kid and their Kuzan, and pass it back to them. They do have an 8,000 power swing with that Katakuri they can do, but other than that, I think we're in a pretty good spot. They're going to have another Eustace Captain Kid, trashing the top card of my life, and man, that really hurts. They can swing now 10,000 with Katakuri. The question is, will they swing into Doflamingo or my life? They're going to swing into my life, and I guess I have to counter out of this. Man, it feels bad getting rid of 3 2Ks, but I got to do what I got to do. Passing it back to us, 10 down for us to work with. Man, do I wish I had another 10 cost Doflamingo. I think I'm going to have to play a Pedro here. It's going to be tough to decide what I do here exactly, just because carrots are good too. They can freeze the Kuzan, but at the same time, Pedro's a blocker. I'm going to start with a 10,000 swing into the 8,000 Katakuri. We are not really in a position to go for game here, so I think that's the right play. Now, I think I should probably swing 10,000 into the Katakuri again, maybe play out a carrot and a Pedro this turn. The question is, do I want to give Don to any of my characters? Also, swinging into a Eustace Captain Kid is a little bit risky, but could be worth the risk. Oh my god, folks, what do I even do here? There's so many decisions. It's going to be a close one. I do have a couple of counter cards in my hand, but not really a lot. I'm going to play out the Pedro first before I attack again, just to better visualize my Don. I'm not going to be swinging into their life, so it doesn't really matter. I don't really have to worry about any triggers, but of course, it's always better to swing before playing characters for the most part, just so your opponent doesn't know what you're going to do next. I'm really debating on whether or not to swing into the Katakuri or the Eustace Captain Kid. Every 1,000 power and every 1,000 counter really counts when you get this far into the game and lethal is on the table. I decided to give it Don to my leader, my Doflamingo, swing 11,000 to the Eustace Captain Kid. They let it go. That tells me nothing really. I just did the math right. I'm also debating on whether or not to play Smoker or Carrot, just because Smoker really sets me up nice to go for game next turn. I'm going to swing 5,000 now with the Carrot into the Kuzan, and that they let it go, which is huge for us. Absolutely huge. If they countered out of that, I would have had to play the Carrot. Now all I have to do is survive until next turn, and I'll probably win the game. I don't know, maybe that's a bold thing to say. They could have 10 cost ace here and heal again, but we're going to be in at least a decent spot with that Smoker on the board. The question is, what 2 cards do they have in their hand? This could really decide the fate of the game, really. If they don't have anything too crazy, if they maybe play down a Shirahoshi blocker, we can rest that with our leader ability, so not too worried about that. They're going to start with a 9,000 power swing from the Eustace Captain Kid, and I am sorry to say, folks, I do mess up this last turn. It does not go perfectly for me. I do not make optimal plays. 9,000 at me. I forget that the Wanda in my hand is a 1k counter and not a 2k. For some reason, I always think that Wanda is a 2k, and so I think that I have enough to counter out of this attack. and I'm gonna counter incorrectly. I'm just countering for the sake of countering, basically, even though it doesn't even work. I don't have enough. That I'm just so embarrassed, folks. I mean, it's not the end of the world. This is just a game at the end of the day, a practice game, but yeah, I mean, I just feel so silly. I hate when that happens to me, just because you want your opponent to be playing as optimally as possible, and so I failed in this. I tell him I'm sorry just because, yeah, I mean, I am sorry. Now, 12,000 at us. We will block with Pedro that time, rest one of their Don, then they swing 10,000. If the same play would have happened, I do survive because I trashed 3k worth of counter at the end, and I would have been able to get to 11. At least I'm pretty sure I would have been able to get to 11. So yeah, that's silly me. It happens though, not the end of the world. On to the next one. Let's try to redeem ourselves against this Calgara. This Calgara will be an interesting match. I feel like Calgara is definitely a sleeper leader in this meta. I always find Calgara to sometimes be troublesome. With our leader ability though, we should be able to control their board a little bit, and yeah, I'm hoping that we're in a pretty good spot for this matchup. They did get the new Enel, which is a really strong card. We are going to be going first, which is fine with us. We really like to go first. I'm debating on whether or not to get rid of this hand. It's a pretty solid hand overall, but I do try to find that Carrot Zoe combo for turn 2. We have that combo, or at least we have the carrots for it, and then we do have the Wanda that we can play turn 1. We'll take the carrot off the Wanda search, but Inuarashi would not have been a bad idea either. I just like the fact that carrot's ability you can do multiple times. We are going to play down the carrot turn 2, find the Zoe. We love to see that. Use the Zoe's ability. We're able to restand a Don, so we won't really have a 3 Don play this turn, but that's fine. I'm thinking we just put pressure on them. 5,000 with our Wanda, then 5,000 with our leader. Off the 5,000 power swing from Wanda, I imagine they'll take this or give us a 1k. They will give us the 1k. They'll probably take this one at least, or no, they'll give us a 2k counter. That is definitely surprising in my opinion, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We do have that Electrical Luna, which is going to be so strong in this matchup. Calgara tends to go wide with smaller bodies that are easily hit with that Electrical Luna. They are going to swing. We will take that, and then they'll play down the Wiper. Off Wiper's ability, they will play an Upper Yard, and then off Upper Yard's ability, they will draw a Wiper again. The Circle of Life, folks. We're going to rest Wiper, then swing 5,000 into it, which they'll let go. That's good news for us. Now we will play down the Smoker instead of the Carrot. We could have played down the Carrot to freeze their Wiper, but I'm thinking we just continue to push at their board, try to get as many counter cards as possible, and then slowly but surely whittle down their life as they run out of cards in hand. 6 Don for them to work with. They are going to swing 6,000 at us using leader ability to cheat out the Calgara. That makes perfect sense to me. This is a typical Calgara 6 Don play where you're going to 2k counter out of that hit, just because the hits do kind of go quickly when you're playing against the Calgara. So I'm thinking that we want to counter out of a couple at least relatively early. This is going to be a Carrot turn, I think, or maybe even a Pedro turn. Pedro turn wouldn't be bad. We're going to start with a 7,000 power swing into their life. It's banished with Smoker, which is great. I imagine they'll want to counter out of this, and they will. A 1k and 2k. Yes, a 1k, 2k. Now we're going to swing 5,000 into their leader. I'm not going to swing into the Nolan just because we are going to rest that with our leader ability, then freeze it with Carrot. That's what I'm leaning towards at least. Maybe we just play Pedro instead, but I'm thinking that Carrot is the move here. 5,000 into their life. They will take that, and then we will play down the Carrot to freeze their Mont Blanc Nolan. Then we can actually restand 2 Don between Smoker and Zoe and still play out the Pedro. That is an absolutely huge turn. Getting 2 extra Don because we have Smoker and Zoe on the field is insane value, folks. If you're not getting it, you better get it now, because that is just such a great, value proposition. They're going to give it down to their leader, swing 6,000 at us, use leader ability to cheat out the 5 cost Wiper. That is a 7,000 power, I believe. 6,000 at us. I do have a 2k in hand, but I also think that I might be inclined to take this. I could also block with Pedro, but I don't really see the point. We're going to take that. We get the Jewelry Bonnie 5 cost, which could be good in this matchup to freeze one of their characters. I think maybe I'll block this Calgara swing for 9,000. We definitely want to do that. We want to keep our Smoker alive, no doubt. We could also use our 0 cost counter event, but we could also just block with Pedro, then pop the Calgara. That makes a lot of sense to me. We could also rest one of their Don. That also is not a bad idea, especially if we plan on playing Electrical Luna next turn. Yeah, that's what we'll do. It'll prevent them from playing another 6 cost body out. They'll have to play out something smaller. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another Wiper, if we see a Mont Blanc Nolan.
something like that. I mean, I actually have seen a Kalgara play the S-Snake as a secret tech. That was really cool. 4-cost Wiper comes out now. They are going to whiff on that search, which is cool, but they are able to play out the upper yard, and then they'll pass it back to me with 1 Don up, probably for a counter event. Right away, we're going to use leader ability to rest their 5-cost Wiper. We're going to swing 7,000 into their life with Smoker, Banish, of course. This is the perfect way, just every turn, to get them to give us counter or banish a life. Either way, we are happy in that scenario. They do have the 1-cost counter event, the Earth Won't Lose. That gives them 3,000 power. They're able to cheat out an upper yard, and yeah, that attack does not go through. We'll pressure their life again, swing 6,000 with our Carrot character, freezing their 6-cost Kalgara. They'll counter out of that attack too with the 2k, and then we're actually going to go big here, playing down the 9-cost Shanks to pop their Wiper. Maybe that's a little bit dramatic. I could have went Jewelry Bonnie and Electrical Luna. I could have went Pedro and Electrical Luna, but I think that's the right play. Getting rid of a big body. We're going to swing 7,000 into the 6,000 power Mont Block now, and they will let that go. I think we're in an amazing spot. Our Smoker is rested, and we don't have a blocker out to save it if they swing really big into it, but we do have a decent amount of counter in hand, and then next turn we'll be able to go absolutely crazy. Between a Carrot swing, between a Shanks swing, we do still have that Electrical Luna. They are going to swing big with their leader, 10,000 into 7,000. Using leader ability right there might be a little risky in my opinion, just because now they're going down to 2 life, and I've got plenty of swings for next turn. 10,000 into 7,000, we are going to counter out of this, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the question is, what card do we want to trash off that 0-cost counter event? I guess the best card to trash in this scenario is the Jewelry Bonnie. Don't want to get rid of that Pedro, just because Pedro's such a strong card in this deck. Or maybe do I want to get rid of Pedro? I'll get rid of the Jewelry Bonnie, and then I will get rid of Pedro. Of course, I didn't really want to get rid of Pedro, but I should counter efficiently there. Countering with the 2k doesn't really make much sense. And then they will swing 7,000 with Wiper into it, and I counter out of that, and they just concede. 2 Don left up for events, but yeah, I mean, I guess I had the lead in that. I hate when people concede early, but yeah, I mean, from their perspective, I was in a commanding position. I might have won next turn. Probably not next turn. I mean, they have plenty of counter in hand, but the turn after that, the fact that I had Electrical Luna would have definitely sealed the deal for me. Okay, on to the next one. We've got a game against the off-meta leader. Off-meta is such an understatement. Nobody plays this leader. This is probably the first time I've played this leader in my entire One Piece career. I debated on whether or not to even include this game, just because does anyone care about a game against Z, the 4-life purple-black OG leader from EB02? I decided to include it anyway, just because it is an interesting matchup, and maybe there's someone out there that does like Z, the leader. If you want me to actually try to cook a Z list, let me know in the comments down below. We'll take their 6,000 opening swing. They've got that 2-cost Uta on the field, which is going to be annoying. We'll play the Consulate and then rest the Uta, and I fall for the oldest trick in the book. Not that it really makes much of a difference in the scheme of things, but we're going to swing into their rested Uta. Of course, that thing cannot be KO'd by swings from leaders. I completely forgot. I feel so embarrassed, but it's early in the game. That's not really going to impact the game much. Probably, right? Hopefully that Uta doesn't come back to bite us in the butt. We play out the 1-cost Carrot to find the Zoe, cheat out the Zoe, we get to restand a Don, and then pass it back to them. They've got 5 Don to work with. Hopefully this Consulate can stay on the board. I think we're going to be in a great position if he can stay on the board. If he can't, it's not the end of the world. We do have that Inuarashi, which might be the move next turn. We're going to take that 6,000 power swing from them. They will play out that 4-cost Kuzan, and we need to deal with this 4-cost Kuzan. No way for us really to KO it. We could rest it and then swing into it, but I think what I want to do is rest it and then freeze it with our Consulate. We'll swing 5,000 with Consulate into their leader, freezing the Kuzan, making it so it can't become active during our opponent's next refresh phase. They'll 1k counter out of that. Then I'm thinking we go Pedro here, restand a Don with Zoe, and then swing 7,000 into their leader. That Uta does make me a little bit nervous on the field, just because they're still going to be able to get value out of that eventually. But it is what it is. 7,000 now with our leader. They'll take that hit, and then is there a trigger? They will have the trigger. They have the God Thread trigger that lets them ramp a Don as active, which is pretty strong. I'm lucky it's not a KO trigger. That would have been a bummer. I'll pass it back to them with 8 Don for them to work with, which is just already 8 Don. This is going to be rough. They will use God Thread to pop our Pedro and ramp a Don. Pedro's on KO ability allows us to KO their Kuzan. That's good news. 6,000 at us with Uta. I probably should have 2k countered out of that. I take it though, and then I will 2k counter out of their 6,000 power leader swing. I don't really have any great plays this turn, which is kind of awkward. I'll start out by giving a Don to our Consulate. Actually scratch that. Let's give Consulate 3, swing 8 or 7,000 into them, freezing the Uta so they can't get value from it next turn. They will use the 0 cost counter event to get out of that. Then I'm just going to play down the Inu Arashi, I think. The Carrot 5 cost has 2k counter, so it doesn't make sense for me to keep that in my hand. We'll use Zo to restand a Don. Then we can swing 6,000 with our leader. Hopefully they take this. We want to whittle down their life a little bit more. They're going to be at 10 Don next turn, and that does make me a little bit afraid. I'm not really sure how this deck really runs or operates. I'm not sure what the lists are. That 10 cost Kuzan is going to be an absolute beast. They're able to pop our Inarashi. Then with leader ability, they're able to pop our Consulate. And yeah, this is going to be really hard to keep characters on board. We need to just pressure life ASAP, I think. I don't think there's really a point for us to battle for board. Of course, we'll play the Inarashi down to freeze the Uta. I'm thinking that we just have to try to keep characters on the board so we can do something. With not a lot of cards in hand, maybe they don't have a lot of counter and we can just get a couple small attacks through. We're going to use Milky's ability to restand a Don, Zo's ability to restand a Don. We're just trying to swing as much as possible. We're also going to play out that 5 cost Carrot, which is a 2k counter, and then we will pass it back to them. If we just can keep one of those on the board, I think we have a decent shot at going for game. Of course, they could play out a blocker, but with our leader ability, if it's 5 cost or less, we can rest it and just push for game. At this point, they do have 6 cards in hand, though, which is pretty intimidating. They do have that 5 cost Eustace Captain Kidd, which is certainly a good card in this situation, but if that's their only blocker, we can rest it. 8,000 now, they can use leader ability to pop one of my bodies. They're going to be able to restand it down because of Eustace Captain Kidd. We'll just take that hit, and then 10,000 from their Kuzan. We'll just take that as well. I don't really think there's a point in countering because this turn we have to go for game. They did leave a Don up. Do they run a counter event? That's a little bit scary. We're just going to go for it, folks. We're going to rest their Eustace Captain Kidd. Do we go like 9 and 9 or 9 and something else? We can start off with a 10,000 power swing from Inu Arashi. Unfortunately, they concede before I even get the chance to swing. I was just going to swing really big with Inu Arashi, which would have been able to get through, and then swing really big with Carrot, which would have hit as well. GG's.
And those are the games I got for you today. What did you think about them? What do you think about this leader? I would love to hear your feedback on this deck list in the comments down below. Let me know what other leaders you want to see me try this format. I'm open to trying a lot of different ones, so suggestions are always welcome. With that being said, that's all I got for you today. If you made it this far in the video, you are an absolute real one. Consider hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. This has been a Johnny TCG video. Peace. And don't forget to subscribe.